Hey, welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak in New York. I'm joined by my two close friends, Ralph Sharega, who's in Florida, and Ray Clifford, who's in Ohio. We're recording this on Thursday, December 21st, 2023, 5 p.m. The Jets will be meeting the Washington Commanders in a little bit. And I guess today is today the solstice or the equinox?
That's right. It's the
Solstice
winter
is up.
solstice, and it's also
Solstice?
it's my youngest daughter's birthday. She
I've
was
been trying to balance an egg on my sidewalk since 11 o'clock this morning, and it's not working.
well, in Australia it goes the other way. Right?
Okay, so anyway, how you doing, Ray?
Great. Just wonderful.
Okay, and
Spoken like
Ralph,
a true Jet fan.
how you doing, Ralph?
I'm doing about as good as Ray.
All right, we're gonna get right into Ralph's classic trivia, and I might throw something in there, but a couple of announcements. Jets some house cleaning. They added two players to the practice squad. Defensive tackle Manny Jones, undrafted from Arizona, been around a few teams. The last was the Patriots, and they let him go from the practice squad. And also running back Jacques Patrick. Don't know much about him. The other news is the Zach Wilson is still in concussion protocol. Um, the Jets activated Aaron Rodgers on the 53-man roster. That's about a day after he said that he's not going to play this year. Maybe you two could explain it to me. We'll talk about that. And they cut Nick Bowden, the fullback, and
Oh, we're in
they want
trouble
to
now.
add him to the practice squad, but I would look for the Washington Commanders to maybe swoop him up later today or for waivers. But anyway, we're here to talk about the Jets and what a disaster it's been, and we're trying to look at the glass half filled, though it's tough. But Ralph, you have a classic Ralph trivia, and I might add one too. So why don't you start with the trivia, which we'll come back to at the end.
Well, since we're playing the Washington Commanders, who used to be the Redskins, the question is in 2003, there were four players called the Jetskins. That was four players that were on the Jets that were free agents and all signed with the Washington Redskins that year in 2003. Can you name those four players?
Ooh, that's another good questions. They were with the Jets and they signed with Washington.
Yeah, all in the same off season. And then I think the NFL scheduled a game for them opening the season against the Redskins.
Wasn't that also the year that the judge ruled that the one guy could go to the Redskins, and when the Jets said, that they didn't protect him somehow because the league told them they didn't have to, and they didn't. And then he went to the Redskins, and the judge who ruled was a Washington Redskins season ticket holder.
Oh yeah. I remember that, Ray. It's a very
He
good
said that
memory.
had nothing to do with it. That was totally unbiased.
Okay. Listen, I am going to ask my question, and it's you're going to get some of the answers, but there have been 8 players who have been wide receivers on both the Jets and Washington. Now, I'm going to give you two because two we know about. Have they gone back and forth? One was let's see. Oh, Santana Moss. He
You give me
played
the only ones that I know.
played for the Jets. You'll know the other ones from 2001, 2004, and then 2005, 2014 Redskins. And I apologize. I was going to look up his records. I think he put up some great numbers for a career.
Yeah, he did.
And the other was Lavernius Coles, who actually went back and forth.
Yeah.
So there are 6 left. I'm going to give you one more because you'll never get it. So there'll be 5 left after I give you this one, and you have to try to get as many as you could. The other one is a nobody. You remember him. Ray will remember him. Josh Bellamy, horrible wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
Awful. He played
I
for the
think he was
Jets.
a rapper too.
I don't know, 2019, and he played for Washington 2013. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players left.
Wow.
I think you guys will get 3. That's my guess. I don't
I
think
know one. Ray's gonna get the others.
Okay. All right. All right. Listen, This was like one of the worst weeks of my life. I mean, I could not listen to talk radio. All I listened to was Christmas music. I'm just so fed up with everything going on and everything that's happening. But the first question, and I'm going to start with Ralph. Big shot Alan Lazard, who signed like a 3-year, $40+ million contract. He opens up his mouth and he talked about, I think what he said was, and you guys could correct me, is that the Jets were not scheming well, or they were out
They were
schemed.
out schemed by Miami, which, they probably were. But, of course, Alan Lazard is the worst player on the team this year. So, talk about the ultimate chutzpah. That's just the Jets, only on the Jets, right, Ray?
Exactly. This can only happen to a team that's already in free fall mode, and then some guy piles on who is leading the free fall.
Right. It's funny because I'm wondering if he was looking for a payback after he was a healthy scratch a couple of weeks ago, and that might have been it. But it
He
was
might have just earned himself another one.
he could have. He could have, but is there anything else on that Alan Lazard, Ralph, before we move on? Because
I mean, I don't know what Sal is such a nice guy. He's probably not going to. I mean, if that was Bill Belichick, he'd sit him down for the rest of the year. But that's not Sal's way, which is probably why he's in the position he's in.
he is, he is.
I don't know what else you can say. It's just so typical Jets. Everything that could go wrong and is ridiculous is Jets.
Well, Ray, I'll ask you, do you think the cracks in the foundation are finally starting to really open up wider as we go into our last 3 games?
Oh, I think they're not just opening up wider. I think pieces are falling out. I think, but I'm still not convinced that they'll get rid of him unless, I mean, I would like to see them do it on their own and not even consult Rodgers, but I think they will. At this point, I don't believe that they will do anything that would upset him, even though he said he'll be back, and maybe that'll give him a little more
Right.
impetus to do it and just say, "Hey, look, this isn't working. We got to move on from him." But I think I don't think it's gonna make it worse, but I think his seat has been hot for a while. It's just getting hotter with every debacle of a game.
It's so hot. Do you remember when he first came to New Jersey? He had the controversy with the contractor.
Yeah. He didn't get his house for like
I,
months,
I'm,
wasn't it?
I'm on the contractor side now. I think,
Well, hopefully it's been built because he's going to be moving out pretty soon.
well, maybe hopefully it wasn't built and he's been renting because he will be moving out, which is, he's got like 7 or 8 kids. Talk about displacing them from one school to another. Feel bad
Rent
for
with
the
option to get fired.
feel bad for the kids, but I just want to start with Ralph on this one, and I added it. And Ralph, tell me what the message is if you're on the Jets 53-man roster. Let me just bear with me. They traded McCole Hardman. They cut Michael Carter. They cut Adrian Amos. The Steelers let go of their offensive coordinator. The Bills let go of their offensive coordinator. The Jets coaching staff stays intact. Nothing was done. So what I'm saying is they're seeing that there's very little accountability up in the coaching area, but on the field, they're doing all these things. And what sort of message is that being sent, Ralph, to the guys on the roster?
Well, I think the players on the roster realize that this is the Jets world, and they realize that, like Ray said, they're in free fall and nothing makes sense. And they're getting paid, so they should be doing their job. But I'm sure a lot of them are not very happy about it.
Ray, how about you? About the message that if you're a player, what are you thinking? You see all these things happen and nothing is done to the coaching staff. And I'm talking about some sort of accountability.
Well, I don't think you're gonna, you know, there are a few teams that might, but we just changed offensive coordinators. I don't think they're going to change again, and at least until the end of the year. And this goes back to the Rodgers thing, whether or not they will. But the guys they got rid of, Hardeman they weren't using because they decided that they wanted get Gibson involved. They wanted Abonaconda to get more involved, even though they haven't done anything with him since they've pretty much activated him to the roster. But so that led to the Michael Carter. So I'm not sure that sends a bad message to the players as far as not getting rid of the coaches. But I think the players are starting to wonder, I think players, on the team don't have a lot they can do at the moment. But I think players from other teams who might have thought of coming here are probably starting to go, well, maybe this isn't the landing spot I'm thinking of if I'm going to be a free agent or anything. I think it hurts from the outside more than on the inside at this point because they're under contract. They know that, good, bad, or indifferent, they got this is their team and they got to play. But I think it hurts us from a standpoint of moving forward, bringing guys in.
You're 100% right. And look, when you're talking about free agents, a lot of things matter. They want to first of all, the number one thing is they want to make as much money as possible. They want a chance to go to the playoffs, maybe the Super Bowl. They want to have a stable organization. They want to have an organization with the quarterbacks in place. All these things aren't happening. Plus the fact that, and I've brought this up before, you have taxes that they're paying in New York and New Jersey that they're not going to be paying like in Carolina or Florida. And then you have the other item, which we spoke about all year, the conditions at MetLife Stadium. I don't care what Aaron Rodgers says that he wants to be involved in recruiting free agents. They're going to have a tough time. They really are. Ralph, I want you to start with the next question, which was 5 ways you could tell if the Jets are a bad football team. And I'm going to just go away for 20 seconds and get my drink of water. Bring it back. Go ahead, Ralph.
All
Only
right.
5?
Well, these are the top 5 signs that the Jets have been in big trouble. I should wait till Marty gets back, but
And I hear you.
number 5, the most popular performance-enhancing drug on the Jets right now is Prozac. Number 4, the offensive line now has more turnstiles than the New York subway system. Number 3, the coaching staff now spends more time working on their resumes than the game plan.
That's true.
Number 2, if Travis Kelce is ever traded to the Jets, Taylor Swift will drop him in a New York minute. And the number 1 reason you can tell the Jets are a bad team, their best player is more likely to appear on the cover of AARP than Sports Illustrated.
That's right. Good one, Ralph. That's good. Okay, his top 5 list. Ralph, we're going to get into the game question, but before we do, I want to bring up something. I'm going to ask you each your opinion, the trade value on two players each. Please don't make any comments. I'm going to give you a chance and tell me what you think they could get in trades as far as draft picks. Okay, I'm going to start with Ray. Ray, what could the Jets get for Garrett Wilson?
A lot.
Well, it's just tell me, what do you think's fair?
At least one number 1 and a second.
Okay. All right, let's leave that. All right. Ralph, what could the Jets get for Breece Hall?
Ooh, that's he's had such a lousy year this year. If a team, I'd say a late first rounder or an early second rounder, plus something else, maybe a 4th or a 5th.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Ralph then. I'm going to have Ray. He's going to get the most unpopular one. All right, Ralph, what could the Jets get for Sauce Gardner?
I would say maybe a 1st and a 2nd or a 1st. Yeah, I think a 1st and a 2nd they could get for him.
Okay, Ray, and both of you don't jump through the screen. What could the Jets get for Quinn Williams?
It would take at least 2 number 1s and something else.
Okay, like a
And if you get somebody like, who was it? San Fran on the hook, you could get 3 number ones, I think.
okay. Let's say 2 number ones and a 3, just
Yeah,
to cover.
sounds good.
All right, this is my feeling. Going into Sunday's game, I want the Jets to lose 40-0. I'm come to the conclusion.
Wow.
And I know it won't happen. I'm just done. I just want to get clean house. I want to get rid of the coaching staff. I want to say goodbye to Aaron Rodgers, and I want to start building from the bottom up. I know we're going to be hurt for a few years on the cap, but I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to trade the players we spoke about just because I don't know if they're ever going to sign a second contract with the Jets. I want to get as much as we could when they're at their peak. Okay, now hear me out. And what I would also do for a new coach, and I know people will say, well, no, you want to get an offensive minded coach. I would hire Dan Quinn, who's the defensive coordinator for Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
He's 53 years old. He's from Morristown, New Jersey. His record when he was with Atlanta was 46-44. In the playoffs, he was 3-2. Now, the biggest take on him was blowing that huge lead against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But you could do that on him, but a lot of people let Pete Carroll off the hook too. Now, when Dan Quinn got there, they were 6-10. His first year they were 8-8. Then they were 11-5, went to the Super Bowl. Then they were 10-6, lost to the Eagles division in the divisional playoffs. Went 7-9, 7-9. Then they started the season 0-5. They let him go. He's improved the Dallas defense. I think he's one of those guys. His second time around, he's going to be better than the first time around. I'd like the Jets to clean house. I don't want to hear any talk about bringing back what's his name in Tannenbaum. That's all you hear on talk radio. Bringing back Rex Ryan and Tannenbaum. I don't want to go back. I want to move forward. I want to clean house. I'm willing to sacrifice a season, but the way it is now, we're like in no man's land. And I knew when I said this, I was going to hear Ralph laughing and Ray rolling his eyes and shaking his head. But I want your reaction to what I said and your reaction to Dan Quinn as a possible candidate who's from New Jersey, a local guy. I think he would jump at the opportunity if they set it up right. Right. I'd start with Ralph. What's your thoughts, Ralph?
I'm with you on cleaning house. I have no problem with that. And
Get rid of those young guys. How about that?
what?
Getting rid of the 4 guys I spoke about, the core
If you
4.
if you can get the draft capital that we've been talking about, although you kind of want to spread it over a couple of years, but I would definitely consider that. Dan Quinn, I don't think so. Because you're going to be starting from scratch and you're going to be starting with a rookie quarterback. Dan Quinn stepped in. He had Matt Ryan, who is an established top-level quarterback playing in his prime. So I don't know if Dan Quinn can develop a young quarterback. That would make me very nervous. I don't know. It's kind of early to start thinking about replacements for head coach, but I don't think I'm thinking Dan Quinn is at the top of my list.
I want someone though who's coached before. That's why I came up with Dan Quinn, and I'm going to leave it to him. Of course, they're going to have to start with a backup quarterback to really start for the team, but I'm going to leave it to him to really hire the right guys. And I'll be honest with you, I would consider not as offensive coordinator, but maybe as a quarterbacks coach, this guy that the Buffalo Bills let go of, Dorsey. I don't think he was that awful. I'm not saying he was good, and I know Brady for the Bills is an improvement, but I would consider a guy like that. Ray, what's your thoughts on Marty's cleaning house idea and Dan Quinn?
I like some of it, but not all of it. I like Dan Quinn. We've talked before. I place far more of the blame on that meltdown in the Super Bowl on Kyle Shanahan than on Dan Quinn. I blame Dan Quinn for not stepping in on the headset and telling him to get his head out of his rear end and start milking clock and stuff like that. But that's the Super Bowl part. You said he can improve his second time around. Well, he won numerous games and then went to the Super Bowl. I'm not sure, other than winning the Super Bowl, there's not much room for him to improve. It's, you know, you have a window, and during his team's window, he had them right where they needed to be. Then they had regressed. That can happen to anybody. I think I think he'd be a fine coach. I'm not as big on getting rid of the foundational pieces. Garrett Wilson is, as long as he stays healthy, is a receiver that could be around for 10 years making a difference.
Ray, have you seen the look on his face though? You see
Well, sure. What look would you have if you were out there on trying to wasting your time running around because somebody can't get you the ball or anything? But did you see his face during Hard Knocks when Aaron Rodgers was throwing to him? Oh my God, they were nearly peeing their pants. They were so excited coming off the field after his first throw. But I mean, you got to have a foundation, and Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, they're foundational guys. I'd rather get rid of a bunch of the other guys who we aren't going to get as much for, but we, you fix a few pieces on this team and we aren't that far off, but the pieces are big ones. So you got to get an offensive line, which we've struggled to do. And you got to get you got to have a quarterback, but we have one that would be fine for a couple of years if we draft one for someone to learn behind. So to blow it all up, I don't think it would be a quick turnaround, and I'm not ready for that.
Ray, this administration is not capable of doing that.
Okay, then get rid of the administration. Don't
The,
get
the, the
rid of
Cleveland
the player.
Browns are on their fourth quarterback. Their offensive line has had injuries, not as bad as the Jets and the Giants. They're 9-5. They're going to make the
Yeah,
playoffs.
have you seen their defense too, though? I mean, their defense is outstanding.
Well,
So
what
how
about
much
the-
better? How much better is their defense than the Jets' defense?
Better than the Jets, I'll say that much.
What about the Bengals? Their offensive line is horrific. Burrow, they lost, and they're
I mean, I understand there are instances where, yeah, but you're talking about blowing it up and thinking we can do the same thing. When have the Jets ever done the same thing as other teams who have been successful at
Marty, by the way, we did sign Quinnen Williams, so you're worried about the second contract. He's got it already, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to.
I understand that, and there'll probably be cap ramifications. But Ray, so in other words, if I said to you, it's one or the other, but not both, and you would keep the core four.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You would be amenable to getting rid of the
Pretty much
coach, the
anybody
general
else.
manager, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like Joe, but he hasn't done enough. To me, I mean, I'll put one question to you. If we had a solid, not elite offensive line, if we had a solid offensive line, would we be at least sniffing the playoffs this year, if not in the playoffs?
Not with Zach Wilson.
He looked pretty good on the one game they protected him.
Well, if you look though, Houston had some injuries too.
Yeah.
Even I don't want to keep making excuses. Even with the Eagles, who's that big offensive lineman who's terrific?
Lane Johnson.
No, the other defensive lineman on the.
Jalen Carter.
He missed that game. I mean, the games they win, it's one thing or another. I mean, and I know they play very well against really good quarterbacks, but it's you could say if that, whatever. Well, if anything, you should start looking at why are they getting injured every stinking year. Okay, every year they're getting injured. I mean, you look on paper, the guys they had played on the offensive line, and it's pretty good. But they're always
Mario. Other teams have a lot of injuries too. They just do better under those circumstances. I put that on the coaching staff.
And that was my
league.
But that was my point when I was trying to say, what's the message we're giving the team? There's no accountability for this coaching staff. And I don't know if it's Aaron Rodgers holding the strings tight and really running things or whatever it is.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
It's a disgrace.
As far as who stays and who goes, probably, yeah. But you know,
Why
you
is Keith Carter the offensive line coach and Downing the passing court? Why are they still in the coaching staff? Why is Calabrese on the coaching staff? That's a disgrace.
well, why would that be Rodgers?
What's that?
Why would that be Rodgers?
I don't think it would.
I don't know. It probably wouldn't, but
Yeah.
give me an answer then, Ray. Give me a logical answer. Why are they
The
still
answer,
at
get
the
a better
job?
coach, and I don't know why they don't change. Well, to be honest with you, the worst move that happened to the Jets was Bill Callahan leaving. That
Right.
was the last time we had a great offensive line.
Great coach. Well, he's with Cleveland now?
He's with Cleveland.
You see, what I would do next year, I know he's
And so that's one of the reasons when you say their offensive line isn't that good,
It-
but they've got one of the best
Right.
offensive line coaches.
not only they're going to have to overpay for free agents, they're going to have to overpay for coaches and assistant coaches. But I agree with you, Ray. I would offer Callahan like
Oh.
assistant head coach and offensive line.
Exactly.
He was a great coach, and he knows what he's doing. All right, let's move on. I want the Jets to lose 40-0. I'm just so sick of this stuff.
But you think that it's going to be like the Raiders and the Chargers thing. So if they absolutely blow them out of the park, they'll get rid of Sal.
I hope so. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, how much more can he take?
I don't know.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I
It
mean,
looks like he's checked out already to
Yeah.
me.
But the unfortunate thing is that they actually could win this game. Washington's a bad team.
hush your mouth, Ralph.
Oh my God, I can't believe this. Who are you, and what did you do with Marty Schupak?
I'm just so sick and tired of this coaching staff.
Wasn't it just last week he was saying?
I know I want to
I'm not
win
looking, but I don't
games.
care. I just want to win games.
It's true. It's true. I admit I changed my mind. I have a knee-jerk reaction to everything. I'm just sick and tired of Salah hearing the same thing. I don't know if he's just a puppet or what's going on. It's nothing is happening positively.
Well, it's a strange situation because under normal circumstances, he'd be gone. But the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, who knows what pact was made behind closed doors. And
You know, they all signed off on it, so it's their
yeah,
own
it's
issue.
so it's really strange because Salah really is a lame duck. He's DOA, but he's still got a job, and he's got to get up there every week and deal with these questions, and it's embarrassing. The whole thing.
I feel bad. I feel bad for him and his wife and his family. I really do. I mean, who thought that we have a coaching staff that would make Adam Gase look like Tom Landry? I just can't get over it, and I hear all these Jet fans hanging their hat on next season, and it's not going to work next season either. Mark my words, we're going to be on there. Something's going to happen.
You got a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tendon, and this is who you're banking on.
I know, and you know what,
Ray?
Ray? If you're a free agent and they're selling you the New York Jets and they're offering you the most money, what's the first question would come out of your mouth if you're like say on the offensive side? I know in my mind,
as it is now.
My first question would be, and let's say I'm an offensive lineman, or I say, who's the backup quarterback? That's what I want to know. All right. I know you're going to have Aaron Rodgers, but who's the darn backup quarterback? And the other thing, Raph, I want to mention to you, 2 weeks ago, it went under the radar. Teddy Bridgewater announced his retirement. He's 31. You heard that, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Mark my
Interesting.
words. You're going to see backup quarterbacks, how their salary is going to escalate. Teddy Bridgewater will unretire. I'm not going to say he's going to sign with the Jets, but I'm telling you, he's going to play next year.
Well, unless he's got such, so many concussions.
He could. Yeah, he could. That's true.
Well, that last injury, was that Bridgewater or was that Tyrod Taylor for the Giants that got hurt? That was Taylor, wasn't it?
Taylor, yeah, he had a chest thing. Bridgewater got a concussion by Sauce Gardner, I think.
Yeah, that was the
First
year
play he
before.
was in,
Last year.
right?
Has he played with anybody this year? Bridgewater, was he on the team?
He's on, is he on New Orleans? No, I don't even know.
Oh, that's where he went after he left us.
By the way, Marty, that's why Zach Wilson's going to find a landing place because teams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He might be he might not be able to play the position, but he's certainly more talented than almost every backup quarterback in the league, physically talented.
Right.
And, like I said, teams will some teams out there will think I can turn this guy into a good quarterback. So
Right.
he'll do just fine getting out of New York.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Salah will do just fine too. He'll get a defensive coordinator job somewhere immediately.
By the
Yeah,
way, Teddy Bridgewater's on Detroit. Backup.
He's on Detroit.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I talked to off the air to a friend of mine, and you know, we talk about the upcoming election, and we'll say two things. We'll say there's 350 million people in this country. Are these the two best candidates we could come up with? And then I'll say the same thing. 350 million people in this country. Are these the best quarterbacks we could come up with out of all these people?
Well, I'll say this: being a quarterback is tougher than being president.
All right,
if you're in
let's
New
get
York.
some back to the Jets. Marty's Mr. Negativity. I've turned on all Jet fans and everything, and probably Ray, just to, you know, be rational. You know, 1 o'clock Christmas Eve, I'll probably sit down and start rooting for the
He'll
Jets.
still be mad.
Yeah, I'll
It's
be
unwatchable.
mad. Okay. All right. Some game question. Who gets sacked more, Sam Howell or whoever the Jet quarterback is? It looks like it's going to be Trevor Siemian.
At least to start the game.
Yeah. Ray, who do you think gets sacked more?
I would say probably, I'm going to go with Trevor Siemian. I was going to say Howell, but our offensive line is so pathetic. I can't do it.
Here's a very subjective question. I'm going to add a name. Who looks more irritated during the game? Robert Saleh or Aaron Rodgers? Ralph put in the question. I'm going to add one name. Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Go ahead, Ralph.
I'm going to have to go with Garrett Wilson then.
Hey,
Okay.
you didn't have Ralph answer the last one.
Oh, Ralph, answer the last one.
Oh, it's like the irresistible force against the immovable object. You got the Redskins' horrific defense and the Jets' horrific offensive line. This is going to be an amazing matchup. But I'm going to go with the Jet quarterbacks getting sacked more too.
Okay. All right. And Ray, how about you? Who's going to look more irritated, Saleh, Rodgers, or Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, well, I was going to say Rodgers, but Garrett Wilson will
I
be the one.
I say Garrett Wilson
That-
also.
That's a runaway.
Right. Okay. Over unders. Ray, Jets offensive line penalties. The over under is 4.5.
Oh, we can do it. 5. We'll go over.
I'll go next. I even if the question was Mekhi Becton, 4.5, I would say over. So I'm saying over. Go ahead, Ralph.
I'm going to say over, and they're going to get a couple that will that the Commanders, Commodore, whatever their name is, will decline, and they'll still go over.
All right. Ralph, Sam Howell, 42.5 passing attempts.
I think it's going to go over. He
Ray?
throws the ball all
Okay.
over the place.
He
Right?
does throw a lot. I'm going to go under though. I think I do think he'll be around the 40 range, but I think we can keep him below that if we get him off the field enough.
I'm going to go under 2. I think 42.5. That's a lot. All right. Going to start with Ralph. Jets total yardage. I guess that's passing yardage and rushing yardage.
Running, yeah.
They haven't had a rushing game out there so long. 215, Ralph. Over under.
Well, that's a tough one. I'm going to say under.
Okay. Ray?
I don't, Washington's D isn't, they've done away with a couple guys that I would have definitely said under, but I think we can move it a little bit on them, and I think we can get over that.
Okay. I'm going to say over 2. I think they're going to do that also. I think this here, next one is Ralph's weekly question. Alan Lazard drops 1.5 over under. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, after his comments, I'm going to be surprised if he gets thrown at more than one. So I'll say under.
Okay.
Well, I don't think he is going to get thrown up, but he'll still drop 2.
Okay, you say over. I don't want to take the easy way out. I like what one of you said before. I think he's going to be a healthy scratch.
Well, yeah, that would take me out of the mix.
I'll say under anyway. I'm going to start the next one. Jets point total, 17.5. I'm going under, way under. Go ahead, Ray.
Um, I'll go under 2. But I do think they can do something on Washington. I'm just not sure what and how much, but I'll go under by a little bit.
Okay, Ralph?
Boy, if they
Come on,
can't get
Ralph.
17 on this defense,
Well, that's come on, Ralph, be the shining light.
no, I'm going under.
You see, you guys made me feel good at the beginning because I'm looking, we have, with those trades, guys, we have like 5 number 1 picks coming and 3 number 2s. I'm feeling better, which is good. All right, here we go. We are going to, oh, do we have to do a score now? I think we do.
Oh yeah. I just want to one thing I want to say.
Go ahead, Ralph.
My resident analytics guy, Matt Lewis, he actually statistically has said that when the Jets take over the ball inside the 30-yard line, it actually would be better if they took 3 knees and punted. And I actually believe that.
You go backwards.
Either go backwards or
Yeah,
the strip
no.
sack where they get recover and score a field goal.
Hey,
It's-
3
right.
knees and 3 knee inside their 30.
inside the Jets 30.
Oh, okay. I
You
was
know-
thinking on the other side of the field. I was saying 3 knees
I
and
mean, don't they get one
3
strip
points.
sack a game, which turns into
Oh.
points, and
Right.
then you got the other plays when they get 2 penalties and a sack, and
Right. I'm on Twitter a lot, and somebody sent me a picture of that fumble sack by Zach, and he did a stop action, and you see these 4 Dolphins behind the Jets offensive line. It was unbelievable. They were in there so fast. I just wanted to ask Ray, because he's our resident referee expert. On that sack on Zach Wilson, was that anywhere close to roughing the passer? I've had 2 people ask me that. They thought it was a helmet-to-helmet roughing the passer.
I'd have to look again. It certain angles made it look bad. But I don't know. It's so hard to say definitely yes or no with the refs. The shove on Stroud got one, and then he, Quinn Williams tackles him and bounces his head off the ground, and that one was considered a clean hit.
Right.
So
Did anyone establish what play it was that Wilson got hurt on?
I thought I read something. I don't want to give false information, so I don't want to repeat it. I wasn't paying that much of attention. You guys know that his mom went on Twitter and gave a summary of what happened, and he had like blurred vision and depth perception problems too, but he still wanted to stay in. Again,
but what part of that was the concussion? That it sounds like his normal problem. He doesn't have any depth perception.
yeah. So what's the problem, man?
Yeah, but when did he get
It's
hurt?
possible that he
We
could have
know.
gotten better from that.
Yeah. Mrs. Wilson, what's the problem? I don't understand. Well, why is it there? Now, listen.
Well, I gotta say, it's amazing that it took this long for him to get a serious injury,
Right,
and-
right. Ralph, you mentioned one thing. We were talking about the backup salaries for next year and how the backup quarterbacks are in such a demand because all these starters, they go out for the year, they miss tons of games. And I'm just wondering if they might get more than like a 6th or 7th round pick for Zach, if they're able to trade him. I know there might be cap implications, but what's your feeling, Ralph?
Yes, I think they could. I do. I
Okay.
think there could be a few teams that would be interested in him, definitely. And they could play them off each other.
Right. Ray, I wanted to ask you, because there's a player I actually wanted the Jets to sign a couple of years ago. You out in Ohio, the Buckeye State. Do you remember the wide receiver? He's on the Commanders now, Terry McLaurin.
Oh, I wanted them to draft him. You know who we took instead of him that year?
I don't want to hear this.
You don't. Ja'Kai Polite or however he
Oh,
pronounces his
my
damn name. And I was just, please take him. He was mainly because they've had so many good receivers. He was a good receiver, but he was known for being a great special teams guy, and he was
Right.
a team captain. And I wanted him for that, and thought he'd make a good third receiver. Hell, oh my God, he is flourished in the NFL.
He's tremendous.
He is outstanding.
And he was like a 3rd round pick, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he after us, after we picked Polite, he went a few picks later to Washington.
I wonder if he's as frustrated as Garrett Wilson, because he's
Well, at least Sam Howell gets the ball out.
Yeah,
there,
I was gonna
you
say,
know?
at least he has somebody who gets him the ball, and he's been great. Yeah, oh man, I loved that guy at Ohio State. He was outstanding.
he's a heck of a player.
Well,
All right.
who were the
All
other wide receivers on this team with him at Ohio State? Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember if Olave was there at that point. I think Olave was in one of his early years, and um, I can't remember the other. They have receivers all the
Yeah.
time.
Right,
That's
right.
one thing they never have to worry about. So I can't remember. I could look it up, and I'm sure they're in the pros.
Right. There's a chance that on McLaurin's his last year, he might have played with Garrett Wilson. Is that a possibility or no?
I don't think that happened.
I think he just missed him, but it is
Okay.
it might be if it was Wilson's first year, but I don't think so.
Probably missed him. Okay, good. All right. We're gonna get back. Anything else before we get back to the trivia question? We have Ralph's classic and my easy trivia question.
One thing that you brought up earlier about Bodden, and you said the Commanders might scoop him up. Well, if they don't, I'm assuming the Patriots will.
Yeah,
So
probably. I
he's
don't think
going
he's
somewhere.
I just don't think he's gonna clear waivers that easy. I think you're right,
No,
Ray.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
All right, my question, and we'll go with my question first. I said there are 8 players played wide receiver for both the Jets and Washington. I gave you 3 and name as many as you can of the remaining 5. I gave you Santana Moss, Lavernius Coles, and the legendary
Oh,
Josh Bellamy. So I'm going to start with Ralph because I don't think you get too many. Go ahead, Ralph.
Art Monk. It's about
Oh, you added the one I couldn't think of.
That's
One
a
of the
good one
ones I
too.
couldn't think of.
and yeah, Coles and Moss were the other ones. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Go to Ray for this.
All right, Ray.
I read Chad Morton. He's the one I talked about in the. He was the one who went to the Redskins and the judge ruled they could keep him. Remember, we had him as a returner for a year.
Is he because he didn't come up when if he's a receiver, then I missed one.
Yeah, more of a
Well,
kick
he might have
returner, but
he might have
that
been
is his
around.
position. Yeah.
All right, so then because there's another one. Wait till you hear this. Okay, so my mistake. There were 9, and you had to name 6. Okay, my error. So Chad Moore. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, and you had Coles and Moss. Chad Morton probably is a running back in Monk. No, I don't have any of the other receivers. I have
Okay,
guys,
you
but not
ready?
receivers.
Art Monk was very good, Ralph. By the way, Art Monk brought up about 12 miles from where I'm sitting now, White Plains, New York, which is
Nice.
yeah, which is good. All right, here, you ready?
Wait a minute, Josh McCown.
No, Ryan Fitzpatrick. No,
Right.
okay. This one you wouldn't have gotten. I should have really named it Kevin Lockhart. He played for the Redskins 2001, 2002, Jets 2003.
Wow. No.
Here's one for you, and he's back on the team. Jamison Crowder.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Okay,
that was
that
one of the
one-
best
yeah.
ones.
That one you should have
recent
had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's one. I was surprised. I thought Ray might get it. He was actually he was doing well for the Jets. I don't know what happened to this guy. Loaded with talent. I think he was he played quarterback for the Buckeyes, Terrell Pryor.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Nice
a wide.
one.
What a
Yeah.
waste of talent. That guy could
We
have.
had Terrell Pryor.
I'm sorry, Terrell
We
Pryor.
had Terrell Pryor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had
Yeah. We had him
2018.
for a bit.
You don't remember?
So memorable.
He was 6'6", and whoever our quarterback was kept overthrowing him.
I thought the guy was a tremendous talent.
He was,
He
but
really was, but look, it's one of those things. And the last one, kind of a trick question, because I think he made the Pro Bowl with us. Andre Roberts, who's listed as a wide
he
receiver.
was the special
Special
team.
teams, yeah.
Yeah,
So
he went
that
to Buffalo. Is he on Washington now?
he was on Washington 2014, 2015. I think he's
Yeah.
out of football. He was pretty up there in age. So those are the questions as we're gonna get to Ralph's question, but and Ray probably feels the same way. There's a little sore spot with Ralph and Marty with the Washington franchise, formerly the Redskins, because one of our favorite players, John Riggins, ended up, I believe he sat out a year. Is that right, Ralph, to get out of his contract? And he went to
Yeah,
the
I think
I'm pretty
so.
sure he sat out a year.
sat out a
He
year,
like retired for a year or something like that.
tied for a year, came back, won a Super Bowl, and I believe he was MVP. Was that right?
Yeah, he's on the Hall of Fame. And another guy that the Redskins stole from the Jets, Verlin
I
Big.
knew you were going to say him.
Yeah.
It was great.
So the Redskins have picked our pockets a lot, and including these four, Santana Moss and all these guys.
Yeah, yeah. And they're the Commanders now, as we know.
Oh
All right,
yeah.
Ralph, you have repeat the question.
All
I
right.
wrote
So
down
in
one name.
2003, the four Jets, not the four Jets like Matt Snell and Bake Turner, but the four Jets free agents signed in the same class with the Redskins. At that time, the Redskins. They called themselves the Jetskins. And actually, two of them you've already mentioned in our
Yeah,
conversation.
I was going to name one, and I'll let Ray go. I'm just going to name the one I thought of because I don't want to go by I said Santana Moss.
No, not Santana Moss. He
Hmm.
was
Coles and Morton, right?
Coles and Morton, and there were two more. Yeah.
Oh, Chad
I
Morton, huh?
thought,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought Moss was one too, but then I thought, no, that came a year
Yeah, he
after.
went a different year in calls. I'll give you a hint on the other two. One is an offensive lineman and one is a place kicker.
Well, I was thinking it was a lineman. I was trying to remember who our
Good
line.
football player. Yeah.
Harry Blanchard.
No, not Carrie Blanchard.
I don't know. Ray, any
Place
guess?
kicker. Oh, place kicker.
Da, 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 da.
Ray's usually good at
I
it.
know.
Up his alley. All right, go ahead, Ralph.
The place kicker was John Hall.
Ah,
yes.
one of my son's favorite Jets. And who was
Who's
the
the
offensive
lineman? He
lineman?
was the one
And the
that.
line was Randy Thomas.
Yes.
Thomas. There you
I
go.
was trying to
That's
remember because I knew it was like somebody
Yeah.
under their Parcells years brought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a great question, really is. So
All right, I got one more quick fun question
go
for
ahead,
you.
Ralph.
Name three Jet quarterbacks who have played for the Jets over the years whose first name is Brett.
Besides Favre.
Brett
not
Ratliff. Uh, the guy
Brett
they have
Rippon.
now, Brett Rippon,
and Brett
Brett
Favre.
Favre. Good one.
Brett
Three
Favre.
Bretts. Yeah. You know, it's funny. Ralph and I thought Brett Ratliff, he could have been something. Remember,
He could have been a contender.
It was a preseason and a
Oh my
all-star.
God, but he
Preseason.
showed
Mr. August, he and David Clowney.
it's unbelievable. Well, in March 1st, that's when the Jets' real season begins, as we all know.
Absolutely.
So we're going to close out. Everyone at Jets Rewind wants to wish everyone out there the merriest Christmas and a happy holiday. And really, enjoy the Jet game. Believe me, even though now I'm negative, I'm sure once I sit down, I'll be rooting for them. I'm just getting frustrated by everything. So for Ralph Sharega, Marty Schupak, and Ray Clifford, Merry Christmas, and we'll be on the air. It's going to be kind of tough because some of us are going to be away, but we'll be on the air sometime next week. Until next time.